Hello, I am David W. Parker. This is Programming Today I Learned, Algorithm Series, Episode 12, and we're going to be looking at linked lists today, specifically a doubly linked list. A linked list is a data structure in which the objects are arranged in a linear order, but unlike an array where they're determined by indices, the order is determined by pointers in each object. So basically what you have is the first object will point to the second will point back to the first as well as to the third will point back to the second as well as the fourth, and so on and so forth. The first object, which is called the head, will point previously to nothing, and the last object, which is called the tail, will point forward to nothing. And so let's go ahead and take a look. Just a couple of quick other versions too we can take a look at. Singly means if we're linked forward, so the first knows where the second is and second knows the third, but it also means the second doesn't know about the first and the third doesn't know about the second. So they won't know about the previous ones. Sorted would mean that the head is always the max value as you define it at any given time, and going down to the least value for the tail. Circular means that the head will point to the tail as its previous, and the tail will point to the head for its next. There are three operations that we're going to look at today: search, insertion, and deletion. Insertion and deletion both are O of 1 operations, whereas searching is O of n because we iterate through the entire an array to look at it. So let's just take a look at what we got going on here. When we're inserting, we'll look at insert first. What we're going to do is we're going to set the incoming value next value is the head, and if there is no head, we're going to set the head's previous values to this, and then set the head to this value, and set the values previous is undefined. Meaning any new incoming insertion will always be the head, and its next value will be the previous head. That's a long-winded way to say it. So what does this look like in practice? So if we have A is inserted, and then B, and then C, and then D, and then we go ahead and look at those. Go ahead and run this. You can see here D has its next value of C, C's next value is B, and its next value would be A. Its previous value, it says circular here, that's what it means it's going to be this C value, and C's previous value is this D, which is why that's circular. So on and so forth. C, you can see the inside of this is B, but B's next value is A. A's next value is undefined. You can see this also down here because that is the tail. And D's previous value is undefined because that's the head. So pretty simple. If we're going to go ahead and search for values, we can go ahead and run this here. So if we're searching for specific values, we can find any specific value that we would so choose. And so let's go ahead and look at that code real quick. So basically this is going to take O of n time, because what we're going to do is we're going to have a specific value that we're looking for, and we're going to start with the head. And while the head is not undefined, we're going to iterate through all of the keys and try to find it. And so we're going to set it to x till next, to next, to next, to next, and iterate until the key is equal. And then finally, when the key is equal, we're going to return that value. So it's also pretty simple. And let's go down here and finally look at deletion. We don't need to find the rest of these, so we're going to use delete C from here. So if we run that, we now have D, B, and A remaining, where if you see, look at the B value, you could see B's next value is A, and its previous is D. D's next value is no longer C, it is B, and A remains the same. So how this works is we're going to end up taking in the key that we need to find. So this is normally O of 1, but if we have to search for a value first, like in this example, it takes O of n. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead, and as long as the previous value is not undefined, we're going to set that previous next to the current next, else we're going to set it to the head, and or set the head's value to the next. And as long as that's not undefined, we're going to end up resetting the previous values to the x.previous value. What that means is we're going to end up taking in the c's previous value and setting it as b, which is what that is. So x.next means this is d. Its previous value is now going to be set to b. So it's pretty simple. And then when I have these values here, basically all I was doing was iterating through and displaying each of the key along with its values. So that's not anything special. So that's it for this episode. There's other ways to do this with sentinels and whatnot. We may look at those in a future time. But if you like what you saw today, please like the video, subscribe, and sign up for my newsletter. Thank you and have a great one.